Welcome to Makers and Movers podcast, brought to you by AHA Talent Experts, where AI meets human expertise to transform talent acquisition. We are the talent consultancy revolutionizing the way companies assemble their dream teams by enhancing hiring processes, imparting effective interview techniques, and providing full-scale executive search or contract staffing. We integrate the latest AI technology with our deep understanding of human talent. Join us as we dive into stories of leadership and culture in manufacturing and CPG, learning how top teams are built and nurtured. I'm your host, Andrea Hoffer. I am thrilled today to have as my guest Shannon Weston, founder of Vibe Foods, a health food restaurant concept in Colorado and Tennessee. Welcome, Shannon.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for being here. I'm excited to hear more about your story and to dive into your journey.
Oh, thanks.
So I know in chatting earlier, you used to work as an insurance executive. How did you make that jump from insurance executive to owning and opening Vibe Foods?
It's actually really crazy. If you would have told me 10 years ago what I would be doing today, I would have thought, no way, because I went right out of college into insurance, commercial insurance. I loved it. I had the pleasure of working with some amazing people. And it was just a career that I absolutely kind of was passionate about, if you can be passionate about insurance. But I think we have 4 children, and it just got to be, it just became a lot of stress at one point, and I kind of hit a crossroads where I thought, after this many years, is this something I want to keep doing? And so with the support of my family, I took a year break, and during that year, of course, I was geared to just go I was running the football tailgates and like everything I could possibly do to stay super busy. And all throughout that period of time, my kids kept like talking about this concept that we had talked about for years. And it just kind of, they pretty much bullied me into trying it. They know I'm very competitive, and they were like, Mom, if somebody launches this and it's not like how you think it should be done, it's probably going to make you mad. So like, you should just do it. And they, every night at the dinner table, we would talk about more and more ideas. And so it's just something that just, I don't know, I never thought I'd be brave enough to do, but just jumped in with 2 feet and started it. So
We often don't know what we're capable of until we try it, right?
yes.
Can you, before we go further into your journey, could you tell us a little bit about Vibe Foods? What is the concept, and how did you come up with the idea?
Yeah, so I grew up just eating, my mom worked, and I feel like back in the day, all this packaged food and processed food and things had a purpose that allowed women to sort of get out and work. It was a substitute for spending time in the kitchen. And so there was like a little bit of a good side to it. But that side is not without consequence when you look around and you see how unhealthy our society is, and how processed food has just gone to like a new level. That is, things that are allowed in this country are not allowed anywhere else. And anyway, to backtrack, I grew up eating that way, and my husband did as well. And we were kind of in that sweet spot where that was a thing, and the marketing tactics were crazy. Back in the day, it was like, have a bowl of this sugary cereal, and the side of the box would say, and 2 cups of orange juice, and 2 slices of white bread with margarine. And that was a complete breakfast. And I thought, well, I better have a complete breakfast. I better do that. So when my husband and I have 4 kids, and when our third one was born, he was thankfully healthy, 10 fingers, 10 toes, but he had so many health issues that were just, they started literally from probably when he was 6 days old. Just his immune system, like he was getting sick. He caught RSV when he was an infant. He had rashes where his skin was like peeling off. His hair was falling out. His teeth grew in, his baby teeth, and they were crumbly. And it was just like, what is going on? And we just kept taking him to this doctor, that doctor, this doctor, really with no answers of what's going on. And he was an awesome little guy, but I would like, people would say, oh, let me see your little baby. And they'd go, oh, I'm like, I swear he's cute. He's going to be cute someday. So when he was about 8, we finally got him to somebody who helped us uncover the why, which is so important. And once we found out the why, we were like, Are you kidding me? This is all food. He has an autoimmune condition that's triggered by food. And it became a very something that was just like, I mean, you only know what you know when you know it, but boy, like it was astounding. Like we had to make huge changes because we had, kids all playing sports, running around, doing all this stuff. And, we had to like stop, take stock in how are we eating, what were we feeding our family, read every single label. It was so difficult because he's 24 now and this would happen when he just turned 8. So I mean, we're talking a long time ago. And we saw his health completely transform. Within 6 weeks, all of his labs were back to normal. And we were like, this poor kid. And he went on to like thrive. He played college football. He, graduated with amazing honors. He's got a great job. Like he went on to thrive, or he was having a hard time surviving. And it was literally all food. So we just became absolutely obsessed with changing everything and then spreading that word to other people. And that's sort of where the whole impetus for Vibe is. It's very mission driven. It's very challenging because as a restaurant, everything is margin. And
Yes.
for us, it's non-negotiable. We're not going to take shortcuts. I made my husband drive 60 miles to get lemon juice that didn't have sodium benzoate and potassium sorbate and all this other stuff in it, like just lemons. And, our customers probably wouldn't know. And most of them honestly really wouldn't care because it's in everything, but like we know and we care. So it's just something we're so passionate about because you see the power of food and the impact it has on people's health. And it's however I felt when I started this, I feel 10 times more passionate and strongly about just getting to know our customers and our employees and just realizing most people in our country walk around not feeling great, which is crazy. Like that's not how our bodies want to be well. So it's, something that for us, it's just a passion and a mission.
I love that. Businesses that are so mission driven, you can feel the passion, you can feel the mission, you understand why, why they started, and it makes you want to keep coming back. Well, walk me through a little bit of what happened. So your kids sat you down, they're like, do this. You come from an insurance background. What steps did you take? How did you figure this out of how you open these restaurants and make this concept a reality?
So I had a lot of business knowledge, so I was really fortunate for that, just because the position I was in insurance, I had experience with everything, but really more high level. I wasn't actually doing the IT or the accounting or the, janitorial, all of that. So was fortunate enough to have friends who have done a lot of these things. So I just started floating the idea by them, having lunches and saying, this is what I'm thinking about conceptually. Here's my kind of my business plan, but like, don't laugh at me. Like one lady was a senior vice president for a bank and I was like, don't laugh at me. But like when you run a credit card, how does the money go from here into the bank? Like I like just things that I don't know, maybe other people think about. I had never thought about. So I was very humbled to realize how little I knew about a lot of things, but also how grateful I was that I had people in my life that knew a little bit about, a lot about little things, and I was able to kind of collectively figure it out through them. And then the big thing was hiring the right team. So I knew I needed to find somebody or a couple somebodies that had restaurant experience. Like I could read about it, I could study it, I could talk to people about it, but I needed people who are like experts in doing it. And actually people who are good at, there's people in the world that follow process well, and then there's people in the world that think about process and how to improve things and how to make things better. And so I had to find a person or two like that to help us launch. And so I was very fortunate to have a couple people, one in particular that came in and she helped us organize our processes and was like, no, you can't do that. You can't, like simple little things, and really helped us set it up. And so much of what she did, we just had one store in Lone Tree. We just thought it's right by where we live. We could walk there. My 14-year-old could walk there. That's how we launched this. So she, a lot of the stuff that she implemented, I'd say 90% of it is still there, and we're a big, we believe in Kaizen, and we're always trying to do small continuous improvements. Like on process, but she got a lot of things right out of the chute. So we're really grateful for her. Her name is Jasmine Hill. So if she ever listens to this, I want her to know how grateful we are. We still are in touch though, but yeah, it's sometimes crazy. You don't realize the impact any little thing you do could make on an organization, and how years later you could still be indirectly impacting or, contributing to the success. So
It's so important. And I'm so happy that you pointed that out. Because today, a lot of people talk about how difficult hiring is and they can't find the right people and all they want is more money and the businesses can't support it. But what I'm seeing as we talk to candidates, yes, money is important because you still have to pay your bills and prices are rising. But what they're looking for just as much, if not more, is making an impact, believing in the mission of the company, but also making their stamp on that company. And you gave her the opportunity to do that. And I think that, that's incredible for somebody, and to be able to look back years later and say, oh, my stamp is still there. I'm still making a difference. So thank you for pointing that out. You mentioned that the first location you chose essentially out of how close it was to your home. Now you have 5 locations, is that correct?
we do. We do.
How did you choose those locations, and what is your plan as far as continuing to open new ones?
So our son, the one that had the issues, went to school in Memphis, and we started spending a ton of time in Memphis for his football games and various things. And with his food issues, I mean, Memphis has honestly such an amazing food scene. The food is fantastic, and there's so many great chefs and things there. But for the particular niche that he needed, especially at the time, this was 6 years ago, it was very hard. Like, he would be the only one on the football bus without a meal. He'd have to figure out, scrape the cheese off the pizza and eat that by the handful. So we were, the more time we spent there, we just really fell in love with the city. We fell in love with the people there. And we thought, maybe Memphis needs something like this. And we signed our lease, and literally 6 days later, COVID hit. So that was interesting. That was actually extremely interesting. And so that was our second one. And, we were interviewing people through Zoom that we never saw their faces for 2 years. Like, we hired them, we trained them in the middle of COVID with their masks on. And then I think it was still another 8 months, 9 months before everyone could take their masks off. So that was kind of crazy, having friends or people that became family to us that we'd never actually seen their face. Every once in a while I'd step way back and I'd be like, can you just lift up your mask? I want to see your smile. I can hear it coming through, but I've never seen it. So except for on Zoom. So it was kind of an interesting time. And then we knew we wanted to expand in Colorado. We really wanted to go to Parker. We had a lot of customers from Parker. Parker's really, it's our neighboring city. So we love it there too. And all my kids played sports there and stuff. So we had a contract down on something. It fell through because of COVID. So we found an opportunity there and we moved there next. And then Littleton is a neighboring city as well. And then we just opened in December a second one in Memphis. And it's a project that we are so in love with. It's a nonprofit former Sears warehouse. And all the businesses in there are just A+ with mission, and they align with us and our values a lot. And it's just, they're great. So yeah, so we just opened that in December. So, and I don't know, I mean, we have all these cool things we want to do, so much more we want to bring to the market. The other day I was like, gosh, if we just had one location, we would have done all these things yesterday, and the bigger you get, the harder it is to make, little changes here or there, add new items. But we'd love to, keep growing and keep, we just know every day people who eat at our store feel great, and their customers become like family to us. We really hire people. We look for certain things. We look for kindness. That's a really important thing. And hustle and reliability. Showing up every day with a good attitude and ready to go is everything. And outside of that, we will teach everybody everything we know about all the ingredients we have and processes and all of that. It's just really finding those people that are part of our vibe tribe And we have a couple employees like Susan and Kristen and Kelly. I mean, they've been with us. They're like my friends that work there. And they just thought, oh, I just want a little something to do. My kids are grown. And every day they make an impact on people. They connect, they make people feel important. They help our staff, our young people, confide in them. And they're such good role models. They kind of give them good advice without being, like their parents and naggy. And it's just like the impact that they make every single day. I hear it all the time from our customers, and it's really cool. We are very particular about who we hire because there's only a few people that kind of meet that criteria. But once we hire them, they don't leave unless they've graduated and they're starting their career, going to med school or whatever, and we just really love in both towns and both cities or all of our locations, the people that work there, they're good eggs. So
that's great. So how do you do that? How do you know that these people you're hiring have those three traits? You said kind, hustle, and what was the last one? Reliability.
Yeah.
How do you know that? How do you figure that out?
Yeah, we've made a couple mistakes, I won't lie, but a couple errors in judgment where we got a little bit bamboozled. But for the most part, we're usually 95% on. We really look at people who are persistent that want to work with us. So we are fortunate because we are different than most food service, and we offer a lot of kind of perks and benefits. Like I want to pay everybody $1 million an hour. I really do. That's on my bucket list, is just to make it the best place to work in terms of pay. But right now, we got to get everything, stabilized and going. And so in the meantime, we try to do things that are more intangibles. But I guess that's not exactly the question you asked me. We really get to know the people that we interview. We spend time with them. We ask a lot of personal questions. We're more interested in their character than we are their previous job experience and what their ambitions are and where they see themselves in 5 years. We're definitely just more in our interview process trying to vet who they are as a person. And so we ask questions more about their behaviors, I would say. We also do have a huge referral network. So that's the good thing, is that I can't even tell you how many moms we've had with both of their kids working, or sisters who have their brothers, or people. I just had somebody reach out and his sister worked for us 7 years ago, and he's like, I'm now old enough to work. Can I come to Vibe? So we kind of built that, I guess. And so that helps too, because you're not gonna, refer somebody unless they're gonna make you look good. So that's a big piece of it. And when we have to go to outside, which is, I'd say, only 15% of the time we have to go find outside people that are legitimate strangers to us, that's when we really dive into the character piece and get to know them. And then we have, sometimes people spend some time in the store with us. We'll have them come in for an hour and shadow in the kitchen just to see if this is the type of job, because it's important for us that they're happy there. We want them to have joy at work. That's something I learned from somebody I worked with a long time ago. And joy at work is super important. We work really hard, but we want people to laugh, smile, be happy, be excited to show up at work and see people that are now like their family and friends.
You said so much there that is extremely valuable, but I do want to pull out the part about the referral piece. There have been so many studies and research that shows, employee referrals is the best way to get new hires, new team members. And they're typically, if they're being referred by good team members, they're typically great team members as well. And so we have client after client who will ask, we'll ask them, do you have an employee referral network set up, some sort of program, or, anything that people encourages your team to refer? And they often will say yes, but nobody ever refers anybody. So how did you make it work?
I have to say, I don't know. I was asking myself that recently, because we have a couple times offered a small incentive. If somebody's onboarded and they're there for 60 days, we'll give you $150. It's not Like, it's not like this big juicy referral, but I think it comes down to building a culture that's fun, where people want to see other more friends there, and more, it's like upbeat, and people that are looking for jobs, and you're like, hey, come here, and it's going to be fun. You're going to like it. And some of the ladies that I mentioned, one of them in particular, she's brought so many people on because she knows people that don't want like a stressful job, and they don't want, our hours are pretty easy, and people, come in, and maybe there's a whole segment of society that wants, I feel like it's overlooked. Like, I mean, I was like badass career person, all in, all of that. And like, and then you go, okay, well, not everybody's like that. And then you got people that don't, maybe they're looked at as lazy because they just want to work 15 hours a week. But maybe they want to do something really super meaningful for those 15 hours. Maybe, there's a whole lot of people that just want to do something that brings them joy, or makes them feel connected to the world, or makes them know that what they're doing is important. And I think it's finding those people, for us, works great. Wouldn't work in my insurance world because they needed people that were like all in. Wouldn't work, for a lot of businesses, but for us, it works. So I think just, kind of building that, and then looking for those people that fit that mindset. It's like great. So.
Well, that's wonderful. So you're adding, it's not just an amazing culture, it's also offering some flexibility, which is very key right now in the labor market. And I don't see that going away. That's really the direction we are going. So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about your bone broth. Because you're laughing. I know you're very proud of it. I know you make it yourself. Tell us a little bit about it and what your plans are for it.
So that was something that when we had to heal up our son's gut, we had to look for all these like recipes. There were not very many. In fact, even online wasn't like a big thing back then. Oh my God, I can't believe how fast time goes. But we had to figure out ways. It was suggested to us that bone broth would be something to really help nourish and heal his gut and calm down his immune system. So we experimented with that. We made some really horrible bone broths. In fact, this is a funny story, and this is a absolute true story. I was on a business trip, and I started some in a crock pot, and I cooked it for 2 days, and I left. And we cook them so long that the bones you don't really want to know how the sausage is made, actually, never mind. But the bones get really squishy. So my kids called crying, and they were like, Dad, so my husband misunderstood, and he thought they were supposed to he didn't strain it. He thought they were supposed to eat it like a soup. So he was telling them, Mom made this for you. You need to eat it. And he was putting, like bones with broth in it in a bowl and having them eat it. And they were like, no, this is so gross. And they called me to tattle on him. And I was like, wait, what? No, you were supposed to strain it. But so we've had some interesting bone broth moments in our family, but we found a recipe that really works, and it is just, you can taste how good it is for you. So we started producing it, and 2017 we would have to beg people to try it. We were like, here, like, have a no thank you bite, and then our customers would taste it and be like, oh my God, this is so good. Like, you can just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just like, you can tell it's good. It's got a lot of minerals in it. It's got, collagen and protein. It's got all this stuff. So, and it's nothing new and fancy. I mean, our ancestors did it for, however long humanity's been on the planet. But we in our society have gotten away from our roots. And so there's, gaps in our diet for sure. And this is one way to fill it. So we source all of our bones from a super humane source. That's really important. And it's really important they are fed appropriately. It's really important that, it's a species appropriate diet. Like for beef, it's grass, and chickens are allowed to like forage a bit. And we're just really careful. We don't have a ton of animal products. I'm personally a total carnivore, but I vote with every dollar we have for businesses that are doing the right things for our planet and for our bodies and for the animals, because I'm a big animal lover. So so we have a chicken and a beef, and we've launched different like concoctions with the flavors, and we would love to try to take that and put it in stores at some point. It's a little daunting right now, but it's on our long-term agenda because people love it. Like we sell 150 gallons, like we'll make it and think we're good forever and it's gone. So it's good stuff.
Do you ship it at all?
We really haven't. We did once. We're trying to figure out that with the packaging. There's just some like labeling. There's like a lot of like a little bit of red tape we need to figure out to be able to do that. Also, because it's like a naturally made product, like the nutrition information, like we have a pretty good idea of it, but there's just like stuff we have to dial in. But yeah, we can do it for friends and family. I'll send you some. It's good. So
You know, after speaking with you, I would love to try some, even though I admit I am a vegetarian, and the thought of drinking some bone broth, I don't know. And it does take some arm twisting, but you talk so passionately about what it does for your body and how good it makes you feel. You almost can't even not
yeah.
find one. Let me know.
Yeah. Sorry, it froze for just a half a second. But yeah, and honestly, it tastes like if you'd have to like chicken soup or like a beef soup. So if that's not your jam, that's kind of what it tastes like. But we are working also on a veggie broth. It does have different
Oh,
things in it. It's not exactly we use a lot of mushrooms and things to try to get that umami, but also the health benefits from that. So we're working on something that appeals to everybody. But yeah, it's really good for you.
well, great. Well, I can't wait till you expand into South Florida and open a restaurant.
We would love that.
It's but I see you when you froze just a moment, like, yes, this is going to be in my future. And that was at the moment when I said, I can't wait till you expand to South Florida. So I am glad that that thought is in your mind and something that you want. I think it would do very well down here. There are a lot of health conscious people, and there aren't enough opportunities. An aspiring entrepreneur or one just starting out who wants to start a mission-driven business in the food industry?
I think you froze for a second, but I think you said, do I have advice for them? I would say that health and wellness, especially, well, really anything in the food industry, if you're passionate about it and you want to do it the right way, it needs to be done. We need more people who care about what they're doing, who care about the impact they're making on people's bodies and, the world, the earth, you name it, animals, you name it. There's so many ways to have an impact. And I think sometimes like it's daunting. Like I have a very entrepreneurial spirit, even a big corporate America type of job. I was extremely entrepreneurial within that framework. And I was like scared to do it. And I think it's a whole different thing when you're playing with your money or maybe your family or whoever you raise money from. In our case, it's our retirement. It's a whole different thing. But if you believe in yourself and you believe in your concept, so many people want to help you and support you. And I think just, getting the right team and getting the right people, you got to do it. You don't want to be woulda, shoulda, coulda, you never want to look back. It's like what my kids said to me. I didn't want to like have somebody else do it, and not do it right, or look back and be like, I should have done this. Why didn't I do this? I could have made an impact. So I'm a big believer in, if you want to do it, you should do it. So.
Right? Very inspiring. So one other question before we wrap up. We here at AHA are big believers in AI and using AI properly, responsibly, and to be more productive. And we also believe that it helps make your team happier because they're being productive. have you started to integrate any AI tools or any part of AI into Vibe Foods? And what does that look like?
Just a little bit with some like writing descriptions, a little bit with some training manuals we're working on, just more of the written type of things. But I would love to talk with you further about what you guys are doing because I think, anytime you can use technology to make things better for your employees or the world, you should. And I think what you guys offer is spectacular. So I would love to hear more about it.
Oh, well, thank you. And I'm happy to talk to you offline about it. Okay, well, this has been a very interesting episode. Your passion I can feel it up and down my body. It's just coming through the internet waves. So I just want to thank you for taking the time to speak with me. I love everything you talked about with not only your journey, but how you were so intentional about how you grew your team right from the start, and that you're very focused on keeping that mission solid and making sure that you're not cutting any corners. And I appreciate that. And thank you for sharing it. And I'm sure it's been inspirational and motivational to other entrepreneurs who, especially if they're thinking of opening something in the same realm as like a health, something mission driven.
Yeah.
So thank you for joining us today, Shannon.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, truly. And it's a lot of fun. I think what you're doing is pretty amazing. So thank you for letting me be a small part of it.
Thank you. So that concludes this edition of Makers and Movers. Thank you again to Shannon Weston for sharing her inspirational insights. Make sure to check out AHA Talent Experts on Facebook and LinkedIn to learn more and stay connected. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you'll subscribe, rate, and review so we can keep bringing you captivating stories from leaders in manufacturing. Until next time, keep reaching for your dreams and moving forward with purpose. I appreciate you joining me today.